Eugeria Live, brought to you by Griswold Home Care. Eugeria is a Greek word meaning health of body and mind in aging individuals. Eugeria Live is a weekly show celebrating the heroes that contribute to the Eugeria of our elderly and disabled population. Now joining us in the studio are your hosts, John Butler and Sam Grass.
Welcome, everybody, for another wonderful experience called Eugeria Live, produced by Griswold Home Care. Griswold has been in the Atlanta area serving seniors with consistent excellence for over 28 years. And one of the things we do and have done since the very beginning is to figure out ways and implement ways to support other caregivers and providers of services for seniors, whether it has to do with home care or not. And today, we are doing that again with another special guest who will be introduced by one of our directors, Sam Grass.
With us today is Kim Grier of Grier Dementia Training that is going to shed some light on how today's environment is affecting those who suffer with dementia. Good morning. How are you, Kim?
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Glad to have you. I understand you're traveling a little bit.
I am right now, yes. I am originally from Canada, and a lot of my family is up here, so I have some family living in long-term care, and now that they've started to relax some of the visitation rules, I am up here after my isolation time to go visit my mom.
Just for those who are listening, you're going to cross the border, obviously, and that's a mandatory 14-day quarantine before you can do that, right?
Correct. I'm on day 7, and I figure if I've made it halfway, I can make it the rest.
That's fantastic. Well, why don't you begin by just, first of all, telling us a little bit about yourself, about your organization, and what do you do?
Sure. My organization, as you mentioned, Grier Dementia Training, I've been working in various levels and of long-term care for almost, close to 35 years now. And all of it has been focused on people living with dementia, education and training, and helping people understand how to take care of an individual living with dementia. A lot of what I do now is I have various courses and classes that I offer for long-term care facilities or any level of care, because dementia is so prevalent. At some point, somebody's going to know somebody who has dementia, and so whether or not this helps in your professional life as well as your personal life. So most of what I'm focused on is dementia education, dementia care education.
Well, before we get into the nuts and bolts of your training, can you answer, is dementia more prevalent now than when, let's say, 30 or 40 years ago? Or is it simply because we are aware of it, have a greater awareness of it?
Dementia is actually more prevalent now. The biggest risk factor for dementia is age. And because we are all living longer and we can't do anything about our age, yes, there actually is more dementia in the world now than there was before because of people living longer, and as well, much better diagnosing tools and tests and assessments.
Well, tell us again, kind of review the services you provide, but specifically, how are those who are suffering with dementia impacted today by the pandemic?
I think people living in long-term care right now and living at home with dementia, especially in long-term care right now, are impacted by the fact that families and friends help provide so much support for individuals that if I can't go visit, then does all of the staff know exactly how to approach you, to talk to you, to help you understand what I'm trying to do with you. And so I think people living with dementia right now have been inordinately affected by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Do you see within the population in facilities, or even those that reside at home, there is certainly some degree of isolation? If they're in a facility, family members cannot visit. How is that impacting these individuals?
Dementia itself is an isolating disease. Quite often people living with dementia, early on you'll have family members saying, well, we used to go out all the time and our friends used to come over, but they don't come over anymore because they don't really know what to say, and I think they're kind of embarrassed. So dementia in and of itself is somewhat isolating. Also, as I'm living with dementia, how I communicate and how I interact with the world around me changes. And if you don't understand how I'm communicating and change the way that you communicate, it can be even more isolating in that I don't understand what you're saying to me. I might be getting a little upset because you're getting upset, and that can really have an impact on the care relationship that we have.
How is this impacting your specific business and how you are trying to train others to deal with this?
My specific business has been doing a lot of hands-on, face-to-face, in-person training. And that's been really impactful because you can get down to the nitty-gritty of demonstrating different techniques of here's how to approach a person, here's how to look for what they're trying to say to you, and really managing scenarios right in the care facility. Obviously, that's not happening now. And so I'm taking all of my training courses that have been face-to-face and putting them into an online format, which is not quite as interactive, will be interactive and have some live training as well as some video recorded to try to make it as close to impactful as it was before, because people living in nursing homes right now have more needs. If the family can't visit, if my friends can't visit, if there's low staffing because staff is afraid to come to work because there's not enough protective equipment for them.
That's good. You know, long time ago, I was trained approaching and speaking to someone that's suffering from any type of memory disorder. That, as you said, it had to be very personal, face-to-face. I was instructed even to lower myself down to their eye level or up to their eye level, if that may be, and speak directly to them. Well, obviously, even in video conferences, that is diminished. Really what happens, it's not only for those who are suffering from dementia, but it's those who are interacting with those people, and how do we effectively communicate? Is there something from a video electronic situation that I can do better as I speak with those?
I think if you're trying to have a video interaction with somebody living with dementia, the important things are, like I've heard people say, well, they don't understand and the screen is too small and they really don't get it. I guess the best advice would be, how can you manage the environment around the person to try to make it as successful as possible? So instead of having me come running in with a tablet and sitting down and trying to show you something on the tablet, maybe there can be a room set aside where it's just a room and a big computer with a big screen laptop, so that it's quiet and I can have a caregiver with me who says, we're going to call your daughter Sue, and we can't visit with her, but we can see her on the screen and talk to her, and just approach it differently and try to make it as successful for the person as possible.
I think that's great. That's certainly something that John and I and my partner Brad can use as we go about our business.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Kim, in today's environment, if there was one piece of advice you could give to those who might tune in, what might that be as it relates to dementia and the pandemic?
I think one thing that's really important right now is that families and friends really need to step up to be an advocate for their family or person living with dementia. I might not be able to speak and talk in a way that you understand to get my needs across, but family and friends absolutely understand me. And to be able to be an advocate and step in and say, hey, long-term care facility, I think this might be helpful. Just keep at it. Don't give up. Keep on going.
Yeah, even though it might not be as effective as face-to-face, we still have to make that connection.
Yep. Human connection is, changed in so many different ways, but having human connection is so important for a person living with dementia because, as I said earlier, it's a very isolating thing to not understand what's going on and have people not understand how I'm trying to talk with them. And so don't give up and keep on going, and just always assume that the person, look at a person with dementia as not that person with dementia. It's basically you and me a few years down the road, maybe. Everyone has the right to a self-determined life, and help them live it.
I appreciate that. It's a great piece of advice. Kim, thank you for being our guest today. Good luck in your travels. I hope your border crossing goes well and you have a great time visiting your family.
Thank you so much for having me.
Eugeria Live is brought to you by Griswold Home Care. View this show again on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, or our website at www.eugerialive.com.